Hello and welcome to Wheel Footy, the most annual wheelchair football show on YouTube. We're back with the second season of Wheel Footy, and today we'll be covering the first 3 weeks of the Victorian League. It's my mission this year to record more stats on the Vic League, so whenever they live stream, I'm there with my trusty pen and pencil. We got round 1, but rounds 2 and 3 weren't streamed, so I have no real insights on those. But anyway, let's kick it. Round 1 started with an absolutely immense battle between Collingwood and Essendon. For the first half, Collingwood seemed to have the ascendancy, especially in the clearance game. Then Chris Henderson produced some magic, scoring 2 goals out of the centre third. Jordan Kinneberg entered as the second forward, and although his impact wasn't huge on the scoreboard, he did lead in a new stat that I'm introducing for this year, plus and minus. The NBA uses plus and minus as a way of measuring player impact. It's simple. Basically, what your team's point differential is when you're on the field is your plus and minus count. So Kinneberg's plus and minus of plus 33 was the highest of the week and helped lead Essendon to slim leads at halftime and three-quarter time. He doesn't feature at all in the last, but despite that, Essendon find themselves 2 goals up with 90 seconds to go. Cue Sam Moraldo, who scores 1 goal 1 and then gets a free right before the siren goes from long range. He converts and gives the Pies an incredible 1-point win called superbly by Austin Kruger and Bailey White. St Kilda then took on the Hawks, and the Saints have lost a few soldiers. As I speculated, Seb Welsh does indeed appear to be focusing on basketball this season, which leaves a massive hole up front for St Kilda. And their captain, Nick Bryant, was also not featuring. Meanwhile, the Hawks get popular and hard-working forward Finn Broadbent back, who immediately set about making up for lost time with 8 goals on his return. Ryan Smith started in the midfield, continuing an experiment that worked very well last year, but this left St Kilda without its 2 main scorers up front, and they struggled to get points despite the best efforts of Nathan Wilburn, who was a contested force. Smith and Wilburn swapped at the half, but this only gave the Hawks the opportunity to just dominate centre clearances, with Martin Ford gaining the ruck ascendancy, which he used to feed Victoria's AFL Open hero from last year, Hayden Auber, who gave excellent service to his forwards. You seen Hollywood Hill wasn't at his usual best, but still gave the Hawks enough firepower to overcome a stalwart defensive duo of Groenewegen and Bowles that helped ride through a late Saint comeback to win by 27. Richmond made their first appearance without the retired Tisha Shadwell against St Kilda and found scoring difficult, with only 3 goals between the two sides at the main break. James Wynert, a defender who saw midfield time last year, moved into the forward line on this one and proved the real difference. His 4 final quarter goals combining with yet more inaccuracy from the Saints to create a comfortable gap which Richmond were able to maintain. In what promised to be the match of the week, round 1's winners both went up against each other, and this one never seemed close. Hollywood scored 3 in the opening 200 seconds, and although Anthony Perito reeled in a 26-point gap to make it a 2-kick game, 3 quick majors from Hawthorn created a buffer that they would not surrender, and the brown and gold was able to ride it out for the rest of the day. Hill ended up with 8 to take his tally by my count to 14, which led the league after 2 weeks. Round 3 began with Essendon playing the Saints, and both sides had welcome additions. Scott Van Gemmert, a handy contributor for the Vics in their AFL Open glory last year, returned for the Bombers, whilst Michael Milton bolstered a flagging Saints defence. Or at least that's what I thought. He ended up playing forward and opened the scoring with a major, with every forward scoring in a first term whose closeness spilled over into the second. Ryan Smith cancelled out a 6-point Essendon halftime gap 2 minutes into the third, but then the Saints, well, they wouldn't find the lead again. Chris Henderson scored 3 and the Bombers were able to maintain that gap all the way to the finish, winning by 21. Smith, with his 7 goals, was the Saints' best on. The next match saw further Hawk triumph, absolutely blowing the Tigers out of the water. Broadbent and Kotsanis both had 4 majors at the half, their teams still battling, the game still somewhat on the line, and Miranda Charlton popped up early in the third to score what I believe was the first goal for a female player this season, I'm fairly sure, for the Tigers. From there, though, the powerful force that was prime Hollywood Hill was awoken, scoring 7 of the next 9, with the other 2 scored by his strike partner in Broadbent. Kotsanis broke the streak of Hawk goals, but that only pegged the margin back to 73, having only been 16 at the half. The end margin was 70, with Broadbent top scoring with 9, while Hill ended up with 8 to take his tally to 22 for the season, which leads league scoring. And speaking of, it's stats time, our favourite time. Like I said, we only have round one stats to go off here, so let's go through them. Anyone who follows Wheel Footy on Instagram will know that our initial player of the week was Sean Groenewegen, who touched the ball 51 times as a defender, 10 more than the next best, who was Arnold Razon. The Razor was by far the best midfielder as judged by the StatFeeder ranking system, with Backman dominating in general. This fascinates me, as in the SANFL you typically find that midfielders have the much larger impact. In the VWFL, it seems like the second back functions more as a ruck rover than in the SANFL, where they normally seem to act more like a sweeper or half back. Hayden Auber and James Bowles round out the podium, both as backs, but both in different ways. Bowles was more of a traditional back, getting most of his 30 touches from marks, assisting only 7 points, and entering more contested marking situations. Auber attacked the centre bouncers more, with 4 assists and a whopping 9 centre clearances, and his one-on-one work was elite, with 4 wins from 5 battles. But he did make 3 mistakes leading directly to Saints goals, and turned it over 10 times as he tried to split the Saints apart with pure speed. Sam Moraldo was the best forward by my books, with 9 goals leading the league after round 1, despite spending a lot of the fourth term on the pine, while Michael Telbin had a debut to remember with good all-round contributions to round out the top 10. The team stats make for interesting reading. St Kilda had 46 more kicks than the Hawks and an incredible 54 more marks as they tried a more methodical style of play. The Hawks, though, were ruthless in their ball use efficiency, having the most forward entries of any team. Interestingly, the Saints had half the amount of ground ball gets as the Hawks, showing that when the ball was in dispute, Hawthorn rose to the challenge, as well they should, as St Kilda took an insane 17 contested marks and had both Smith and Wilburn break through 2 defensive picks each. Collingwood, meanwhile, deserved their win statistically, with 47 more kicks and exactly double Essendon's 40 marks. They also managed to split centre clearances 50-50 despite being smashed in the ruck, and generated more chances from close in. Essendon had 7 shots from the midfield, which is insane. Now we can look at my power rankings, otherwise known as ELO ratings, and if you're familiar with the series, what you may have noticed is that Morningside, who were within touching distance of the number 1 seed, have fallen well away. They've started 1 and 2 in the Queensland League, with Ormo and Mount Gravatt defeating them over the first 2 match days. Those 2 sides currently top the table at the moment, and it's proving a very interesting battle to see who takes the title there. I called Morningside at the start of the season. I think with the talent they have on the list, if they are playing, they haven't got the match day rosters for that team, they should be able to claw that deficit back, but who knows what's going to happen in that Queensland League. It's very close and very exciting. And before we go, a shout out to Macquarie University for winning the New South Wales Club League, which sprang up in various locations across the state over a period of 6 weeks. It's great to see the game grow over there. Even in the short time that I've been involved with it, it's grown exponentially. So fantastic work to everyone down there. Danny Jeffries, Toby Popple, and everyone else whose name I don't know. So yeah, this is a bit of a quicker one this time, as we only have 1 set of matches with detailed stats to go over. I've been assured that live streaming will kick off from round 4, which will start next week with a big Dreamtime game that promises to be better than the AFL equivalent, mainly because Brad Scott will not be involved. The Santville will kick off the week after that, with me making my wheelchair football debut, so watch out for that. Once the 2 leagues are concurrent and regularly videoed matches are being available, I'm hoping that I can do these episodes bi-weekly, like fortnightly, without affecting the main channel too much. But yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Get involved with the wheelchair scene if you're not already, and I will see you in a few weeks. Boom.